Hi, this is Maani with Phoenix Tactical Solutions, and today we're going to talk about training in front of a mirror, and I'm going to get into why we do that. Before that, I want to just give a little historical background which kind of ties in to what we're going to be doing today. If you're familiar with U.S. Army Brigadier General Marshall's research during World War II, or Lieutenant Colonel Grossman's books on that topic, you'll know that during World War II, based on the research that Marshall did, there was a 15 to 20% fire rate of riflemen in World War II. So basically, only 15 to 20% of riflemen actually discharged their weapons. Now, does this mean that they were cowards? No, not at all. In fact, they were really brave men who helped in other ways, maybe taking messages or helping other riflemen with ammunition or tending to the wounded. So these were brave men who just did not or had an aversion to taking a life, which is very common. Most people do not want to take a life. In fact, the aversion to taking a life was so intense that some actually died before they would actually take another person's life. Things drastically changed during Vietnam because those statistics just didn't sit well with the brass. So how did things change? What did they do? Well, for one of the basic things that was changed, instead of using bullseye targets, they went to silhouette targets, outline of a human form. They dehumanized the enemy, desensitized and indoctrinated soldiers, and hammered home the fact that bravery was not the most, was a factor, but the ability to kill was very important. So based on all those mindset work, dehumanization of the enemy, desensitization, working with silhouette targets, the discharge rates went up to about 90 to 95%. So huge improvement. So how does that tie into what we're going to be doing today? As you all know, if you train in defensive handgun, shotgun, or rifle work, most schools and most people who train on their own purchase silhouettes, human silhouette targets, or targets with an actual face of a person, or targets with the anatomy or spines or vertebrae and ribs and heart and everything, or a human skull, to get as close to a human form as possible. Beyond that, there's force-on-force training, where you actually work using simunitions or airsoft handguns, rifles, against human adversaries, which again works fantastic because you're actually firing against a human being. Now, some of these training may be cost prohibitive to most people, or they just don't have the wherewithal to get into it. The next best thing, in my opinion, which I've been working on, is drawing in front of a mirror. What you're going to notice when you do that, you're actually obviously firing at your own reflection. As you all know, there's a certain amount of target fixation, whereby we are conditioned to focus on the threat, or more so, focus on what the threat is holding, whether it's a knife or a handgun or a shotgun. We fixate on the target based on that. So as you all know, taking defensive classes, or if you're a student of the shooting game, defensive shooting, you want to eliminate that as much as you can and try to focus on that front sight. Now, I'm not talking about close contact distances or intermediate, where obviously it's a form shot. You're not going to use your sights. But if you get the distances a little beyond that, maybe 4, 5, 6 yards, and again, you can still hit if you have good form, if your draw stroke is really good. But under stress, things get wacky, so it's always a good idea to get a good flash sight picture and focus on that front sight and put your shots where you want them. Shot placement. As you all know, handguns are very underpowered weapons, very underpowered. So what do we rely on? Shot placement. We want to stop the threat as fast as possible. It's not lethality, it's incapacitation. That's our goal. So a couple of things that you'll notice when you draw against the mirror. First of all, you're going to see your own reflection, probably holding a gun at you. So, and it's gonna throw you up for a second and say, well, wait a second, what am I gonna shoot at? I can't see the guy's heart, my own heart, because the person's handgun and arms are in front of it, but that's where you want to unload the rounds. You want to unload the center of mass. That's one thing that you're going to notice. Secondarily, like I discussed earlier, you're going to notice that you're going to fixate on the target, especially because it's you. So this is the fantastic training because it's you. So you're going to be looking at the target. It's going to take you a few tries to condition yourself to focus on that front sight, even if it's a flash sight picture. So a few drills that I like to do in front of a mirror. One of them is, if the most common, you wake up in the middle of the night, you have your gun either in a sul position or at the ready, and you're walking around. Walk around a corridor and put a mirror or a couple of mirrors or 3 mirrors in different rooms. And the minute you either shoot from, you slice the pie, or if you enter place one where you can slice the pie and fire at your own reflection, or put one in a room where no matter how much you slice the pie, it's in a hard corner and you can't see it, so you have to enter and you have to boom, engage the target, your own reflection. So that's one way of doing it. Another method is from the draw, obviously. From the draw, whether it's be outside the waistband or from concealment inside the waistband. Practice drawing and engaging your own reflection. Other things obviously is work on your malfunction drills. The ability to, after you do that, clear that type 1, type 2, or type 3, to be able to get back on your front sight and on the target. So again, a lot of people say under stress, that goes out the window. We just stare at the threat. Now, that may be the case, but I still want to train as much as I can to pick up that front sight, especially if I have longer distances to contend with. Obviously, as you recall, in New York, nine bystanders were shot. 9. And the adversary was around, 8 to 12 feet away. So things go wrong. So that front sight is critical to get a good flash sight picture at the very least, to know where your shots are going. As you know, you're responsible. You have your ballistic signature on every round you fire, so you don't want to miss. And be responsible for unintended hit. So these are the ways that we can use a mirror to our advantage. Do some moving and shooting. Move away from the target. Put it all center of mass. Transition to the head. When you're doing your type 1, incorporate some movement. Draw, click. Symptom is a click. Tap, rack, move as you're doing that. I like to move to the left when I'm executing a type 1 or a type 2, because I have the knowledge that most people are right-handed, most people shoot low and left, we're untrained. So I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to go take a step, that quick tap rack that I do, I take a step. My environment dictates which way I go, obviously. I may not be able to go back, I may not be able to go to left, I may be able to go to my right. So whatever your environment dictates, practice that way. And use a mirror. It's great training. It's great training to be able to draw against the human form. And it's also great training to be able to pick up that front sight, especially when you're looking at your own reflection. You can visit us at www.phoenixtacticalsolutions.com. Hope to see you in class someday. Thanks again. By the way, this is a hat that a friend of mine gave me recently. Thank you, AM. You know who you are. Take care.